Welcome back to Talking Chaos. I'm Warlock Fred, and with me again, back in his cage, is...
the Condor!
And today we will be talking about fear.
I love that. Fear. The general topic of fear. You guys, if you're dedicated listeners to the show, or if you've listened to it before, you kind of get the idea that we take a topic and we're going to shred it. We're going to bounce some ideas off each other. We're going to just generically have a conversation about this thing that we're so familiar with. I think fear is probably one of those things that everybody's experienced, right? Even those who are incapable of processing what it is have experienced it.
Yep. And as always, we would like to thank our patrons. This podcast is only possible with the contributions of our patrons. If you'd like to join them and also get the full uncut version of this, the full bush as we like to call it, please join us at patreon.com/talkingchaos.
Yeah, we're not afraid to mention our patrons. I will say that. I know it's dumb. Cliche as fuck, dude. Like, we just gotta...
We beat the fuck out of it. I get it.
We have to mention it every episode, because not only are we sincerely thankful, but they are the reason that we do this. This is 100% commercial free because of our patrons, and if you want to continue to make this commercial free, help us out. Fear. Fear is a topic. I'm remembering it's a French phrase. You might be able to help me out with this. But it's the call of the void is what it translates to.
Oh, fuck.
You know what I'm talking about. It's got the word noir in there somewhere. I know it does.
Hold on.
La Vida Noir or something. I don't know. I'm terrible with my French. I failed that class. We've spoken about this, I think, at great length. But the call of the void, as far as I can remember, it's an inherent, instinctual gut feeling that you get. That's like, I want to jump off the edge of this building, or I want to drive my car into oncoming traffic. Like, I just want to briefly end it for no real reason, and it's completely irrational and usually lasts like a lightning second. But the French had dubbed it this phrase that Fred is frantically Googling right at this moment to try to look up.
L'appel du vide.
Oh, see, no noir. I was completely wrong. L'appel du vide? L'appel du vide?
L'appel du vide, which I apologize to any French people out there. I do not speak French. I have never taken French, and this is my slaughtering of your language. I apologize prophetically.
Right. If anybody out there speaks French and would like to submit audio of this phrase being said correctly, that would be delightful. I would love that. Especially if it was like a really pretty voice. And yes, there are men that can have pretty voices. I'm not going to this is not a sexist thing. Fear is not gender bias. What are you afraid of, Fred?
What am I afraid of? I mean, other than the standard, like, I hate spiders and things like that. Like, I'm also terrified of like heights.
Really?
To some extent, oddly enough. I mean, I know I'm a tall motherfucker, but I
think I have a physical reaction through fear of heights. Like, I'll physically start to shake and my legs will come out. Like, I experience emotion in a very physical way. So when I'm antsy, like, I shake my legs, I twist my hair. I have to physically get that out of my system.
You have physical tics that is your way of dealing with your emotion.
And it's weird because, like, fear only seems to come when I process the moment. So, like, if I'm on a tall structure, like you're saying, I'm aware of the situation. That is when I'm most fearful because I've been robbed at gunpoint and I didn't seem to have that much fear. It was very odd because, like, I thought I was going to get pistol whipped more than anything. And I kept glancing over my shoulder like, don't beat me in the head, asshole. This is going to suck. I was not even worried about getting shot because I figured if I got shot, I was dead.
You just had this irrational fear of getting pistol whipped.
Right. If I'm dead, I can't have a headache. Maybe I'm just afraid of pain in general. Like, not intense pain, but mild pain, like a headache. A headache will lay
pain.
me out. Yes, inconvenient pain. I am afraid of inconvenience. Actually, that might be a good way to... Mm-hmm.
Afraid of inconvenience or annoyed by inconvenience?
I'm afraid of it. No, I'm definitely only annoyed. I appreciate the detail there.
Well, like, so for me, like, I'm
probably afraid of success.
Interesting.
I bet
like
that's
like
a...
Is that why we had this mental breakdown and run away?
Oh, for sure. I bet that's totally why I'm self-destructive and like can just self-annihilate at any moment.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that it's success for you, where it's literally failure for me. Like, I am afraid of failure. Like,
you're afraid of failure. No wonder you called me so much. Like, we're not giving up on this, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, not only that, but also the making sure you're okay and alive, and hey, I actually give a shit. But
I love that the way that this all came out in the podcast is it kind of makes you sound like an asshole, but in reality, you're like a really caring friend. I'm afraid of losing my friends. That is an absolute fear that I am totally aware of. I am the guy who calls my friends incessantly. Even the ones that like refuse to take my phone calls and I haven't spoken to in weeks, I still like religiously call them once a week, or I try to. Just to remind them, like, hey dude, I'm still here, I care. I don't ever give a shit that they don't pick up. We're like going into our fucking adult golden years now. Like, people got shit they got to do. I could be calling him at work. He could be in the middle of some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, people work third shift jobs. I have no idea. I call them at all hours. It's totally weird.
I am afraid of confrontation, or at least I've been trying to overcome my fear of confrontation, because I hate like being the aggressor, the person that's like, hey dude, look, you fucked up. Or whatever it happens to be, like those type of things. Like,
you're in a leadership position now.
Oh, absolutely. Like, especially at work. Like, I'm in a leadership position now, and so it's like hey dude, you fucked up, and I have to actually like talk myself into going to somebody and being like, hey, I need you to fix what you fucked up, or whatever it happened.
I don't know if I could pull that off with any sort of grace at all. Well, I mean, I'm not a graceful human being as a rule. It's pretty much, I'm like, I step lightly physically, but like I'm very likely to trip over the curb while stepping lightly. I'll trip over my own foot. I've done that so many times.
Oh, absolutely.
It helps that I'm walking around pretty laid out most of the time. Fears. Big ass dogs.
Big ass dogs.
They don't even have to be big, dude. An aggressive medium-sized dog will get me fucking like, whoa.
An aggressive Chihuahua will have Condor running for the hills.
Them I'm not so concerned about, because I've thought about it. Like, I'm old enough that I could punt one pretty hard and it wouldn't fuck with me again.
Drop kick that motherfucker.
Come running at me all snarly and like foaming at the mouth, I'm dropping that Chihuahua.
Very nice.
I don't give a shit whose dog it is. I'm not getting my ankles bit off, man. Like,
I get it. I understand. Clowns.
Seriously?
Like, is it no, not necessarily me. Like, my wife, like clowns are a little weird for me, but like my wife has a huge like irrational fear of clowns. I know a lot of people have like that weird fear of clowns. Like, to me, I think it's that they have a mask on, like that's, but it's still like they're like okay, they have a
You're
mask.
getting an eyebrow raise, man, because this sounds like some straight up eyes wide shut fear right here. Like, you don't want a room of clowns fucking.
I mean, I know I don't want a room of clowns fucking, because that's bothersome anyway.
Oh, come on, it's good stuff. Everybody's got to get down. You know that clowns fuck.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that there are all sorts of fetishes. I mean, there's furries and shit out there.
That's what happens. Like, in my head, to combat fear, I use comedy. So even in like fearful topics and fearful situations, I'll frequently use comedy to like dissolve the situation. So like when I thought of It, and I'm terrified by that whole movie. The new ones, the old one, it doesn't matter. Terrified.
I've actually never seen either of them, and I'm good with that.
But if you watch it and you think about what it must be like for him to have sex during the whole movie, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh a lot. So that's what I do. That's my fear coping mechanism. Is just picture what you're afraid of having sex.
Interesting.
Don't picture yourself in your underwear. Picture it fucking. It's terrible advice. I'm afraid of getting fired, and all I picture is my boss fucking. Oh,
you're afraid of getting promoted. You said a success. Afraid of getting fired. Afraid of getting promoted.
Yeah, you're right. I've never really let myself get fired. I've always just quit when I thought like the end was coming. Like, listen, I'm gonna do us both a favor and get out of here.
Nah, man, stick that bitch out. Get workers' comp or unemployment on that.
I never ever qualified for either one of those.
You know why? Because you never got fired.
Okay. All right. Semantics. I'm afraid of being wrong.
You're afraid of being wrong? Well, you're wrong a lot.
When I was a kid, I definitely used to be afraid of being wrong. I couldn't necessarily admit when I was fighting on the wrong side of a topic or on the wrong side of a situation. And I would stick it out.
I remember that.
Like frustration would occur. And I'm definitely a little more laid back as far as like social situations go. At least I'm trying to be. You guys let me know. Maybe I'm doing a shit job. Who fucking knows, right? I'm almost out of coffee. I am afraid of never having coffee again.
That would be, yeah, I don't know.
It's totally a real fear. I love coffee.
That's fair. I understand that. Like, you were talking about getting a fucking French press and all that shit. I've never actually had a French press, but like, I agree. Like, I don't know. There are some days where like I fear not being able to function without coffee, or having to have coffee to function type thing. You know, I guess you know what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm dependent on substances. Caffeine and coffee is definitely one of them. But like, I'm a hipstery, nonsensical guy. Like I tend to not love coffee would be against my people. It would be like like disrespectful. Like it would dishonor my forefathers of coffeedom. The hills of Colombia. No, it's not. I'm not from there. Nobody that I'm related to is from there. I'm sure of it. Nothing against the people who are from there. I'm not insinuating. You know what? We're going to move on. What are you? I'm afraid of coming off politically negative.
Politically negative or politically incorrect?
Something like that. I really don't want people to think I'm a racist, that's for sure.
I've had people think I'm a racist, and it's really great. Right up until like they've legitimately been like, "Oh my god, this guy's a racist." Right up until I'm like, until they've met my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interestingly, like, I don't know if it was like comment I had made or something like that, but they were like, "Oh, this guy," like for some reason they decided I was a racist like a long time ago. And I was like, "But my wife is brown."
So you're not afraid of what people think so much?
Not really. Like, I mean, no, not really. I mean, to an extent of like, hey, like, again, going back to the, like, being a leader at work and whatnot, like, I fear people thinking like I'm a shitty leader or something like that. Like, I'm not actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm not taking care of my people the way I should. But other than that, I don't really care what other people think, because I'm going to do what I feel is right in whatever situation it happens to be.
Fair enough. That's fine. I can commend that. We are in a weird paradigm in the 21st century. You see a lot of people talking about preppers. Are you afraid of the end of the world?
I mean, yes and no.
You don't think it's something to, like, actually fear? Because, like, statistically speaking, you'll probably die before the end of the world actually happens.
Oh, I mean, I know statistically that I'll die before the end of the world happens, provided that, you know, the political environment doesn't cave in upon itself, which it seems like it's headed towards. But
like, discounting nuclear weapons and, like, nuclear winter across the planet caused by
are you talking like zombie apocalypse type shit? Because, like, I mean,
meteor. Let's go with the meteor. It's a natural occurrence, unless, like, China threw one at us.
I mean, that's not really something you can fight against, but, like, I mean, it depends on the survivability.
Come on, man, Armageddon. You can't fight against a meteor?
I mean, you can to an extent.
Are you afraid that Jerry Bruckheimer was right? That Bruce Willis is going to sacrifice himself for the sake of the world?
I mean, it would be a sad day.
It would.
There'd be no Die Hard movies anymore.
Bullshit. That would be the last Die Hard movie we would need. John McClane goes to fight an asteroid? Are you fucking kidding me? That's the last one. There's no, like, John McClane goes after a black hole. Like, that's not going to happen.
They would film that shit, too. You know they would.
That shit would be dope. I'd watch that shit. The last one was poo-poo, but that one would be great.
No, in the regard of the end of the world, or like zombie apocalypse, or, like, you know, something like that, where, like, something has destroyed most of humanity, but there's still survivors around, and, like, preppers, like, are, you know, the gods or whatever the fuck you want to call them.
God, I hope the preppers aren't the gods.
I don't know, whatever.
If that's reality, then count me out.
But no, for me, like, my biggest fear is, like, having to raise my child in a world like that. Like, having, like, for, like, if it was just me, like, I feel like I got this. But it, like, the fact that I'd have to, like, tote family around and shit like that, and be able to, like, help make sure that they survive, that's
right. Pull a Walking Dead.
Yeah. And like,
you're like, I don't want to be Rick. I saw what happened. Nobody needs that.
And I mean, okay, so irrational fear of mine is that my child gets kidnapped or some shit like that.
That's I don't know. I don't know if that's an irrational fear. I think there's a lot of logic that goes into why somebody would arguably be afraid of that.
Well, I mean, yes.
Watch Minority Report. You get enough idea of what that'll do to a human being. Tom Cruise is all kinds of fucked up. Sorry, Tom, if you're listening. That'd be crazy. Tom Cruise heard our podcast. I'd shit my pants. I would do it for you guys, though, our audience. Like, I would shit my pants for you. I don't know how I would make that about you guys, but I would find a way.
And diverting back.
I'm afraid of dying.
The illness getting to you.
Still getting over that cold. Doesn't help I hit my pipe when we're talking. When we do this, like, I can't not do that. But it's I'm definitely afraid of dying. More than I've ever been. Like, I thought when I was a kid it was just gonna happen. Spontaneously before I was 25. I'd just die. I was cool with that. But, like, now I'm 30 and I'm going to be like, shit, dude. You're going to die like your gramps did. It's like coughing on your own phlegm in your living room, hooked up to a bunch of morphine. I'm like, I would have rather died in my 20s.
That's all right. Fair enough.
It's a little morbid, but like,
No, it is like I understand. Like, so I fear dying by like disease or something like that, where it's like a slow, arduous death. Like, but like,
arguably, that might be better for your family.
Why is that?
Well, think about the trauma that can be incurred by a quick, unexpected death.
True, but at the same time, I mean,
if
it almost
you have a disease that takes 2 or 3 years to progressively kill you, you have time. You and your family might have time to like do a bunch of really cool shit and like cope with the fact that like there's nothing we can do about this.
Well,
I mean, just gonna have to enjoy it while it lasts.
Let's be fair. There is really nothing we can do about this in any regard. Like, you don't get into life without having, like, at the end of it, you're gonna fucking die, no matter what you do. Nobody gets out of it alive.
I hope there's an end. I'm stuck in this permanently. Oh my fuck, dude. Jesus. I don't want to know. Like, can you imagine watching 20 presidents? By the end of it, I'd be like, holy shit, do you guys not see what I've seen? They're all the same. Nothing gets done. What are we doing? I'm afraid of lack of progress as a society, within myself, within my child.
With forward motion or?
Yeah. I don't like stagnance. And I think that's the most dangerous thing. When you think about it, especially in relation to the mind, a great example is me. I was stagnant for 10 years. I can't have been good for who I was. I probably did a bunch of internal damage to my brain stuff.
Your brain stuff.
See? Like I said. Damage. And maybe if I'd have put my pedal to the floor, I probably would be in a better situation. No doubt. Physically, mentally, I've come far, but I think I would be better off had I been more, driven.
Say motivated? Had more of a...
For sure. I think motivation is healthy.
Say, is the term had more of a constitution?
Depends. I mean, I hope you're not using it in the D&D sense, because that's all wrong.
In the what sense?
Dungeons and Dragons. I made an epic nerd joke.
I've never actually played Dungeons and Dragons, considering the amount of nerd that I am.
I've played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Yep. Many a doob has been smoked while entering many a dungeon. Dude, dungeon doobs, those are the best. Anybody out there, you know what's up. You're gonna hear no endorsement, but you know what's going on. We're gonna do a little. This is probably gonna wrap up the trimmed part of the episode. If you want to check out some more of our uncut stuff and the more lengthier conversation that Fred and I have, go to our Patreon at patreon.com/talkingchaos. Look for The Full Bush. Everybody on all of our platforms, our listeners, if you guys want to hear the uncut stuff, check out The Full Bush.